Hi, hey, hello, and welcome to the first Don't Watch the Jersey episode of a Colts podcast in 2021. I'm Brandon, and I'm joined here by your co-host, my best friend, Andrew Moore. I'm excited, pal. Colts won. You don't have a voice from not screaming at the TV, believe it or not, folks. Just a little under the weather, so kind of like me a couple weekends ago. But, buddy, Colts win. Wasn't pretty, but we got the dub. How you feeling?
Yeah, I'm going to apologize up front for my voice. Am I muted?
Now you're unmuted. That's
there we go. I'm going to apologize for my voice up front. It's not the greatest, but we're going to try to struggle through this here. Colts got a dub, and that was the most important thing. They weren't perfect by any means, but they went down to Miami. They took care of a lesser team, and it is the first Don't Wash the Jersey episode. Love to see it. So it was a must win for the Colts. We talked about it, and they went down there and took care of business. So we got another game we'll talk about later in the week. Obviously, it's a big game, but absolutely right. Let's go Colts. Let's go Colts. But
hey, listen, you give my future little brother-in-law some slack, okay?
There we go. Let's go Colts. So good
victory.
Definitely something the team needed, and something I think that they can build off of going forward.
Yeah, I 100% agree, and we'll get into it. But first, I just want to remind everybody, go follow us at a Colts podcast on all the things, Instagram, Twitter. If your Instagram's working again, and your Facebook, go to a Colts podcast. Hopefully we're streaming right now to Facebook still. Hey, if you're listening right now from the Horseshoe Huddle Twitter, I can't see how many there are, but I know there's quite a few. Welcome. For anyone who doesn't know what a Don't Wash the Jersey episode is, listen, here's what me and Andrew do. And I stole it from him. I can't even pretend that it was my tradition.
I've been doing this since I was 11 years old.
Kid.
11 years
old.
He
did not. He doesn't watch the Jersey after a Colts victory. Okay, so we decided to start calling episodes "Watch the Jersey" episode or "Don't Watch the Jersey" episode when we do recaps. So that's that joke there, inside joke. Now for all of you to enjoy. But yeah. We're a Colts podcast presented by Sports Illustrated, formerly The Educated Fan. We're still The Educated Fans. And as I like to say, I know more than you. But I probably don't. I just like to talk onto a microphone and ask Andrew the hard questions. Let's dig into it. Colts win 27-17. That sounds so much better than it really was. Some things went right. Some things went wrong. It was a sloppy day. But in this league that we all are a part of in our own way, a win's a win. Nobody gives a shit how you did it at the end of the year. It's just whether or not you did. And the Colts managed to pull it off. And it all started with the run game. Finally, run the damn ball translated into winning the damn game.
Absolutely. And it started with Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor came out there, 33 rushes, 139 yards. Well, this is the team, I should say, was 33 rushes, 139 yards, 4.2 yards per carry. And then Jonathan Taylor was the majority of that, going for 16 carries, 103 yards and a touchdown. And he was, he was the X factor for me last week. Jonathan Taylor, the game was going to run through Jonathan Taylor. And that's what the Colts really needed to do. So the Colts gave it to him early, and something that was really lacking in this Colts offense was the big plays, especially on the ground game. Jonathan Taylor ripped off runs of 39 yards and 28 yards or 23 yards respectively. That 23-yarder, was the touchdown. So you really saw this Colts running game get going, and that took a lot of the pressure off of Carson Wentz. So he didn't have to throw it 37 times like he did against Tennessee just for the Colts to get in the game. The Colts were able to establish a lead with their running game, and then once they got out front, the running game and then supplemented by Carson Wentz was able to seal the deal. And I honestly, I know you're in agreement on this too. This is the recipe that the Colts need to go forward with, at least right now, because they're so banged up, and until Carson Wentz can get fully healthy, until T.Y. Hilton Quentin Nelson comes back, until Eric Fisher is 100%. This is what they need to do. They really need to rely on that running game, rely on Jonathan Taylor, Nyheim Hines, Marlon Mack. Well, he's still here. Marlon Mack had a good chunk of plays on Sunday. And this is what they need to do in order to get these leads and be successful in this area if they want to win games.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't have been happier with the way we stayed dedicated to the run, I guess I should say. Marlon Mack, I was surprised to see him dressed after they decided to make him a healthy scratch last week. People were kind of curious, why would they do that if they're trying to trade him? Well, you don't want him to get hurt. So I was kind of surprised by their decision to use him this week. I don't know. Maybe they thought, we can make him happy. Maybe there's not any trade options out there. So they're like, let's try to get him some runs, see how it goes. But yeah, Jonathan Taylor was great. There were a couple runs. He could have had more yards. But right from the get-go, he was pushing piles. So I was really happy with that. First time he's broken 100 yards this season. So offensive line, though, definitely looked good. Chris Reed, is his first name Chris?
Chris Reed started at left tackle for Quentin Nelson.
Left guard.
You get it.
How often does that happen? That's usually the other way around.
I'm sick. I'll chalk it up to being under the weather.
He's sick. But yeah, I was happy with it. 33 rushes overall, is a much higher number than we've been looking at. I think, last week, what was it?
It was 16 carries combined between Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines. Yeah. So pretty much doubling that output. And you're absolutely right. Chris Reed stepped in at left guard for Quentin Nelson, and he played great. He really did. He was opening up lanes in the running game. He was very serviceable in the pass game. And as far as the other parts of the offensive line, he was probably one of our top performers. I mean, Ryan Kelly played a pretty decent game. Julian Davenport, again, was awful, but that's to be expected. Eric Fisher got beat quite a few times.
Andrew sent me a screenshot of one of his articles that he was writing today and asked me if he was being too hard on Julian Davenport. He's not.
Stinks. Yeah, it was my stock up, stock down. I don't know if your stock can go any lower than Julian Davenport's right now. Braden Smith needs to come back as soon as possible. But Eric Fisher, Eric Fisher definitely didn't play very well. He gave up quite a few pressures on Carson Wentz, and it seemed like Jalen Phillips had some success against Fisher. But as far as the running game is concerned, it seemed like Fisher was a little bit better in the running game. Chris Reed obviously was able to get to the second level, and honestly, if you might be thinking that Chris Reed possibly could be somebody that could play right guard for us next year if the Colts don't decide to re-sign Mark Lewinsky. He's that good, and which
people don't think that we will.
It's a very good possibility because Mark Lewinsky is going to be a free agent. He's going to again command a lot of money, and it's at some point you're going to have to let some of these guys go. You can't pay them all. So, but yeah, as far as the offensive line and the running game, absolutely their best game so far this year. Pass protection could have been probably a little bit better, but for the most part, I was pleased with what I saw. And I think, again, the Colts just need to get healthy for us to really see that full offensive line, what we're expecting to see for this team.
Yeah, because that's one of the... it's been one of the area of the team that we've been able to rely on so heavily, almost right from the time Chris Ballard took over. So to have concerns in that department right now is not my favorite thing. What do we got next? Carson Wentz. Better week from Carson compared to last week. 24 for 32, 75% completion percentage, 228 yards, 2 touchdowns, still only 1 interception on the year. And it was that was a weird play in itself. We ended the Miami Dolphins defense's turnover streak games. That was cool. Ended that. So Carson didn't contribute to that. 228 yards, not a lot, but Carson, what he did, he was, like you said during the game, he was looking at the crossing routes more. He was checking down the ball a little more. And for the most part, aside from a couple plays where maybe I was yelling at the TV, he did get rid of the football more quickly this week.
Yeah, and obviously I haven't watched the film yet. Again, I'm gonna probably do that after we end this live stream to start watching the film again. The one play that stuck out to me where, like you said, he could have probably thrown the ball a little bit quicker was on that first sack. He started to run outside the pocket. And they ended up catching up to him. Now, a fully healthy Carson Wentz probably escapes that, but again, he's still working his way back
Yeah.
from this injury, and
He still looks
so
slow.
he got taken down. Yeah, he said he felt like he was running a quicksand, and honestly, I mean, it's gonna
He looked like he was.
he looked like it. It's gonna take some time, but he didn't seem like a statue back there like he did
No.
against Tennessee, and I think that's
was wild.
his run that went for the first down, that 10 yards. I mean, I don't know which player would be faster at that point, Carson Wentz or Peyton Manning. It didn't seem like it was obvious that he wasn't 100%. But what you see there with Carson Wentz is, again, a little bit more mobility. He was able to spin and get outside the pocket some, deliver the ball down the field. There was a play, I think it was on the Colts' final drive there when they're trying to get those first downs, run out the clock. He escapes the pocket, he rolls right, and he throws an absolute dart to Michael Pittman Jr. for the first down. And that's vintage Carson Wentz. That's the Carson Wentz that we expect to see. But like you said, he only has one interception this year, and it was on that great play by Aaron Donald. At this point in 2020, Carson Wentz had 7 interceptions with the Eagles. He has 1 now. Now, the upside to that, obviously, not turning the ball over. That's obviously good.
Yeah.
Now, has Carson Wentz been throwing it down the field and really taking as many shots as he did against as he did when he was with Philadelphia? Probably not. But I
also doesn't have T.Y. Hilton.
I really didn't expect that, and the Colts aren't fully healthy. Eric Fisher, Quentin Nelson, T.Y. Hilton, Braden Smith, going on and on and on. Once they are back to full strength, I think you'll see that this offense is starting to open this up more and more. There were some other great throws. The one to Ashton Doolin really sticks out to me, and I see that Colton Evans was thinking the same thing. That one sticks out. The throw to Paris Campbell deep down the field. Paris Campbell should have caught that, and that would have been a huge chunk play for this Colts team. So overall, just on my first impressions, without going and seeing the tape again, I think Carson Wentz had another solid game. Would I put it up there with the Rams game? Probably not. I wouldn't put it up there with that, but I think it was still a pretty good game considering how injured Carson Wentz was and just how injured the entire team was. It's something to build confidence off of as the Colts do travel to Baltimore on Monday night.
What's up, Colton Evans? His throw to Doolin was beautiful. So was, I thought, the throw to was it Pascal that dropped that ball or Paris Campbell?
Paris Campbell down the right side. That's the one I was talking about.
Yep. So that was pretty. That was right where it needed to be. I don't understand this overthrow issue though that he's having right now. Like, obviously not in regards to that specific throw, but he overthrew some players again this week. And I talked about, how I would have thought a guy with hurt ankles wouldn't have been able to get he'd be throwing the ball short, but probably just some kind of breakdown in his mechanics due to the injured ankles is all I can think of.
I think it's partially mechanics. I think it's partially just timing with the receivers too. I mean, we got to think he's still limited in practice. He's really not getting the full reps that he needs to. I mean, Phillip Rivers was having these same issues, and Phillip Rivers didn't miss a practice all last year. So you got to think. I mean, we're only 4 weeks of the season, and he missed all of training camp. This will come on, but timing with receivers is a lot more important and a lot harder than people think. So once they build that chemistry, I think it'll look a lot better. One thing we didn't mention though were his throws to Mo Alley Cox. And we'll talk about Mo Alley Cox getting involved, but I think him and Mo Alley Cox are starting to create a little bit of a connection there, especially in the red zone. We were talking about that. Like, but Mo Alley Cox, 6'5", 267 pounds. The dude can win a jump ball pretty much anybody. He needs to be used more in the red zone. And credit to Frank Reich for giving Mo Alley Cox a bigger role and putting him in those situations. And the Colts looking for him in the red zone to make it easier for themselves in the red zone and get touchdowns.
I think not only Mo in the red zone, but you know what? And I asked you this week, Andrew, what do we got to do to score more in the red zone? Well, we got to throw the ball to the big guys a little more. We've got Mo, we have Pittman, we have Strong. I mean, that's why you got these guys, right? Kylan Granson. Where is Kylan Granson? The guy, the rookie we were probably as excited about as any of them, to be honest. I mean, even him and Quiddy, it's right there. We're real excited about this guy. I don't know why we're not using him more. I know he's a rookie. There's, a long way to go and whatnot, but I just think in the red zone, we have an answer. We just haven't really been using it. I want to comment on this real quick about the penalties. Honestly, Colts loyalist, we were one of the lower penalized teams going into this game. So I'm hoping that's just kind of a, what's the word that I'm looking for?
A one-off situation.
Not the word I was looking for, but I'll take that one.
Well, and I mean, two of the big ones were on Xavier Rhodes, which we'll talk about his concerns here a bit when we mention the defense. But I do think that this was probably the Colts' least disciplined game. I think they had their most penalties on the year. There were some on the offensive line that stalled drives. Zach Pascal got called for holding a couple times that I saw. Michael Pittman had a pass interference call. So just little things that I think the Colts need to clean up, because they will have to be on their A game in order to beat Baltimore on Monday.
So we mentioned Mo Alley-Cox, Andrew. Mo had 3 catches. 2 of those were for touchdowns, 42 yards, and he almost had another one. I thought there was pass interference there. We've already talked about, apparently now you can face guard somebody, put your hand over their face, not look for the football, and it's no longer pass interference. So defensive backs, I hope you're listening. All the defensive backs that obviously listen to our show. Just face guard, just cover, do whatever you want. So Mo had a really good game.
He did, and I think part of that was because Jack Doyle was limited. Jack Doyle's been dealing with a nagging back injury, and he really didn't play at all in the first half. That allowed Mo Alley-Cox to take the majority of the tight end reps, and you saw just the weapon that he is down the field. I mean, there was a big 28-yard pass play to Mo Alley-Cox. Jack Doyle, I mean, WWJD and Jack Doyle made a huge play towards the end of the game to help ice it, but at the same time, the Mo Alley-Cox is just a different kind of weapon, because the long strides that he takes, the big body. I mean, Jack Doyle is no small guy. He's 6'6" as well, but it's different with Mo Alley-Cox. His hands are big. He's just a better red zone threat than Jack Doyle. And I think, again, Frank Reich can kind of use these things and use these pieces throughout the year. We don't have to be so predictable in the red zone where it's going to be Jonathan Taylor running up the middle. I mean, you have guys where you have a Mo Alley-Cox, Michael Pittman. Zach Pascal has shown he can produce in the red zone with 3 touchdowns this year. Mike Strong, once he gets more acclimated. You mentioned Kylan Granson. Even Nyheim Hines. Nyheim Hines can be used within the red zone. T.Y. Hilton's a savvy route runner. The guys, the Colts have options. It's up to Frank Reich to be multiple with his looks. It's up to Frank Reich to scheme these guys open and use a variety of different plays, not just the same thing over and over in the red zone where it's so predictable that everybody loads up in those A and B gaps and just goes straight at Jonathan Taylor. Use these guys, get more confidence in Carson Wentz as well down there, and use the guys to their strengths, because there's so many weapons and so many different strengths that each one of these guys have. Because Michael Pittman, I'll just run through them real quick. Michael Pittman is a fierce runner with the ball. Zach Pascal is tough. Mo Alley-Cox can win a jump ball. Jack Doyle is so smart and he's got great hands. Mike Strawn's huge, 6'5". Jonathan Taylor can run over people. Use their strengths, especially in an area where it's so important to win football games and your team hasn't been successful yet this year. And Frank Reich did that on Sunday, and the results were great.
Yeah, variety, I think, is the key word in what you were just saying, Andrew. I think that is going to be the most helpful in regards to our red zone performance. And that the Jonathan Taylor's touchdown run was just outside of the red zone. So we'll consider that a red zone score in my book, and we'll take it. The defense showed up yesterday, Andrew. They didn't look great the whole game. As a matter of fact, when they were marching down the field, the Dolphins, they were up 3-0. And this was before they had the whole field goal delay, punted it. I mean, before all that, I was like, I was ready to give up on the game already, honestly, because I thought the Dolphins were going to keep moving the ball real easily. And we came up with a stop, which was great. And things turned around, but they produced a couple of turnovers. Well, I guess that was just one, and one was on a punt. But yeah, defense had a good game. 203 yards allowed, only 35 rushing yards, 2 forced fumbles, 3 for 11 on fourth down.
On third down. I'm sorry, that was a typo. So
I was like 11 fourth down goes. I was like, I don't recall that.
3 for 11 on third downs, but they did start out well. And I think the biggest thing we need to take away from that was the 35 rush yards, because the Colts rush defense had been getting demolished the first 3 games of the year. And it's not like
Juan Lewis was it Gaskin? Just spun him around on the ground.
I tweeted
that's
out
my dog when I get him on toys, I spin him around.
I tweeted out to Tyquan Lewis, my God, dude, that guy has a family, and you're just throwing him around like a rag doll out there.
Did he like it?
No, he did not. But I mean, you throw a guy down like that. It was a great play for the defense, but showing that intensity and then really putting all the onus on Jacoby Brissett to lead this team, and Jacoby Brissett leading a team to a victory, putting it all on himself, that's usually not going to work out. Now, in the fourth quarter, I mean, you could either chalk it up to garbage time. I would have liked them to end a little bit stronger on defense rather than just letting Jacoby Brissett shuck it down the field to Devontae Parker and those, because the Dolphins really did get down the field pretty quickly in the fourth quarter. So that's definitely something to be aware of. The Colts desperately missed Rock Ya-Sin on those. Rock Ya-Sin, obviously he's been the Colts' best cornerback so far this year. I don't know if any of us really expected that. And
did he got his first flag?
Rock Ya-Sin? Rock Ya-Sin
it was Broads both times, wasn't it?
Yeah, Rock Ya-Sin didn't play. Rock Ya-Sin didn't play on Sunday, so
that would make sense.
Yeah, so but you need to hopefully the Colts could channel what they did at the beginning of the game rather than what they did in the fourth quarter, because I think that's the winning football. Darius Leonard looked a little bit better, looked a little bit healthier. The Colts did generate more pressure on Jacoby Brissett. Kemoko Turay, hell of a game for him. He had 2 sacks. It was good to see him out there. I think you could be encouraged by what you see. But again, we also have to think about the opponent. It was against Jacoby Brissett. This Dolphins offense isn't very good. The Colts, while they beat up on bad quarterbacks like a Jacoby Brissett, it seems like the good quarterbacks, like a Matt Stafford, a Russell Wilson, a Ryan Tannehill, those are the quarterbacks that seem to be pretty good against this Colts defense. So it's encouraging, and hopefully it starts building momentum. But once we see Lamar Jackson, the Colts need to step up and show that they can perform well against a good quarterback as well.
Yeah. Hey, guys, loving all the chatter in here today. I mean, we're just flowing with comments. While you're listening, don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to leave comments just on other videos too. Go watch those, leave comments. What do you think about this, Andrew? And I think this was probably more towards the end of the game, when honestly, I know we should have played better defense towards the end of the game, but it was kind of garbage time. We were out of reach at that point. What do you think about this comment from Colton Evans? The Dolphins utilized the flats very well against our coverage. When we started to try and cheat those, they caught us slipping deep.
I think that's kind of what the Colts defense wanted to do, though. They knew Jacoby wasn't going to force it deep, so they made sure he just kept checking it down the flats, and then the Colts really did a better job of tackling those and wrapping up the ball carriers as soon as they got the ball. I really thought that was a massive improvement over the first 3 weeks of the season, and by getting that pressure on Jacoby Brissett, obviously he's not really looking to go downfield. You can really try to cheat on those and try to get a little extra pressure in the flats. I didn't really think that was the reason why they started to go deep. I think they started to go deep because, number one, they were down by, it was 20-3 or 20 to to 10, something like that. They needed to catch up in a quick fashion. And then again, they just picked on Xavier Rhodes. And Isaiah Rodgers was a culprit of that too. The Colts quarterbacks, Devontae Parker, was really eating them up. And Jacoby Brissett was able to throw it down. The Colts cornerbacks didn't do a great job of defending the deep ball. That's something that they're definitely going to need to make sure they take care of next week. But I think that had more to do with it rather than the Colts kind of cheating up in the flats, is that the Dolphins realized, okay, we need to go now. And so they started forcing those big shots down the field, and those pass interference calls on Xavier Rhodes just absolutely killed him.
All right, we got to keep it moving here. Kamoko Toure, 2 sacks.
Kamoko Toure did a great job. And I really wish that the Colts would give him more snaps. I think Colton Evans, again, is right here when Toure needs more snaps. It was great to see that him getting that production. And it just seems like when the Colts were struggling with that pass rush, they didn't seem like they were wrapping or getting guys home. It just seemed like guys could stand back there. Now we know that Kamoko Toure is somebody that necessarily isn't going to play the best against the run, but that pass rushing skill set is something that Al-Qadim Muhammad and Taekwon Lewis just don't have. So when you get a guy like that, it's going to create pressure on the quarterback. I think Toure does need to be put out there more. Let him have more opportunities, especially when you're struggling to get to the quarterback. Toure's, if the Colts really think Toure is that big of a liability against the run, there's ways to cover that up, but I think his play style and his strengths as a pure pass rusher, to be able to get to the quarterback and get sacks, it's more valuable than being able to then just thinking, oh, you're possibly going to give up a run to that side. That's something that the Colts desperately need as a pass rusher, and hopefully Toure, since he is healthy now, can continue to provide that as the season goes along.
I would imagine he would. That was our hope for him. He showed flashes of being real good before the injuries and whatnot. So we'll see. Xavier Rhodes did struggle, though. Those 2 deep PIs, is he getting slower? Was he in bad position when the play started? Obviously, you saw some film to watch. Did you see anything specific, though, just live that you were like, oh, well, that's why he got beat?
I think Xavier Rhodes, number one, I think he isn't 100%. I think he is still trying to recover from that calf injury. He definitely doesn't look like the same Xavier Rhodes.
Didn't he miss time last week, too? Didn't he go out of the game for a hot minute?
He went out for a little bit, but came right back. So I don't think it was anything too serious. He wasn't on the injury report at all this week. He was a full participant all week, but I still think he is still trying to work his way back to fully 100%. And on those 2 pass interference calls on Devontae Parker, seemed like Xavier Rhodes kind of just panicked at the end of the route. He almost did the same thing that Rock Ya-Sin does. He got really grabby. He seemed like he was going to hold and tackle the guy before the ball got there instead of really playing the ball. So he doesn't look as quick as he should have been. So again, that could be maybe attributed to the injury, just attributed to knocking some of the rust off. But it is something that we kind of need to monitor, because Xavier Rhodes is a very crucial part to this defense.
Right.
And in order for the Colts to get where they want to go, Xavier Rhodes needs to play at that level that he played last year. And if he starts to regress, not only do you have the question mark, if can Rock Ya-Sin keep up this level of play throughout the year, you're thinking, can Xavier Rhodes hold up and do his part? Otherwise, the cornerback situation in Indianapolis is just going to be abysmal already then, with regarding what's going on and what the question marks that are already at that position.
We'll talk about this probably more at length this week for the preview episode Wednesday. But real quick, Andrew, just snap judgment. Who do you want to see guard Hollywood Brown next week from Colton Evans?
So the Colts don't really have a guy that shadows another guy. They'll keep Xavier Rhodes on one side. If Rock Ya-Sin could play him on the other side, keep Kenny Moore in the slot. Obviously, it seems like Hollywood Brown, I haven't really watched too much of the Baltimore Ravens. If he plays maybe in the slot, I'm sure you're going to see a lot of Kenny Moore on him. I'm sure you're going to see a lot of stuff over the top with Julian Blackmon helping on him. It's going to be a team effort, because the Colts really don't have a guy that follows receivers around and shadows him. All the cornerbacks are going to have to be ready to go and ready to meet the challenge that the Baltimore Ravens present.
Classic Andrew. I literally ask snap judgment real quick. Give me a name. Andrew gives you a good 5-minute explanation.
It was literally 30 seconds.
While he's struggling with losing his voice. What else would he do? You know what I mean? That's just very Andrew. Big test against Baltimore. I don't think Baltimore has looked real great. They've looked a little up and down. Colton loves it, of course. Yeah. They've looked a little up and down. They've lost. Did they lose to the Bengals? Steelers lost to the Bengals. Who the Ravens lost us to? Let's take a look under the hood. You know what I'm saying?
The Ravens lost to the Raiders week 1 in that Monday Night Football game.
Well, I picked that game. Was that week 1?
Yeah. Because the week 1 in Vegas, remember?
Oh yeah. So that's their only loss. They beat the Chiefs, the Lions, and the Broncos. All right, I take it back. The Lions game was iffy.
The Baltimore Ravens have looked pretty good. I mean, they looked a hell of a lot better than the Colts. And you have to remember when the Colts played the Ravens last year, the Ravens took it to Indianapolis. So this by no means is going to be an easy game. It's probably going to be on close to the same level as I would say the Seattle, the Tennessee, and the Rams game. It's another top team in the conference, and it's a team with a great quarterback that's able to run, get out on those bootlegs, which really kills the Colts. And the Colts are going to have to be better in all phases. They're going to have to keep the running game up. They're going to have to make sure that Carson Wentz can handle the blitz, because the Ravens are one of the biggest blitzing teams in the league. And then on the other side of the ball, it's all about
one.
Right. It's all about containing Lamar Jackson, making sure that he doesn't go off, making sure that you have eyes on him at all times, and not letting him take over the game. So it's going to be a big challenge for Indianapolis this week.
Lamar has been playing well, and he has been throwing the ball from the pocket real well. That's true. To Hollywood Brown, I feel like a lot. Is this a thing? I don't know what Matt here is talking about. An indoor stadium having a weather delay. Is that going on right now for this game? Feel free to comment and let me know, because I obviously...
It could be happening for the Monday Night Football game. It's
delayed. Los Angeles Chargers. It's in L.A.
It's in L.A. Is the stadium... I'm not sure if the stadium is half open, maybe. I don't know if they could fully close it. I really don't know the full structure of SoFi Stadium, but that's really the only possible thing that I could think of.
It says delayed. Must be lightning, I guess, probably. Okay, well, breaking news. The game's delayed. The educated fan always here, the Colts podcast, always here for the breaking news.
There we go. Matt coming in with the help on the breaking news. Open window, and it's a lightning delay. There we go.
Close the window, Just close it.
If you have a stadium like Lucas Oil where you can close the window, but maybe SoFi Stadium in that $4 billion stadium can't do that.
It's a gorgeous stadium. I want to go to that.
Fantastic.
I want to go to a game there so bad. What are we on next? What are we talking about here? Other news, injuries. Andrew, guess what? I have good news.
What's that?
No injuries to report coming out of the game.
Can we get a round of applause?
Can we? I'll crank it up to 11. No injuries from the game to report, says Frank Reich, which... Oh, there we go. Is just bound to mean that somebody's going to get hurt in practice this week. That's how that's going to go.
I saw someone tweet that someone's going to end up getting their arm ripped off in Wednesday's practice because he said that.
Yeah.
But, that
injury was a blown shoe. Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't stop the injuries that already happened. And the headliners is Quentin Nelson with his high ankle sprain, got placed on IR. So he's going to at least miss the next 2 games against Baltimore and Houston. He could possibly return against the 49ers in 3 weeks, which would definitely be a big help. But when you lose your best offensive lineman, and in our opinion, the best offensive lineman in the entire league, I mean, it's tough. So Chris Reed again played very well in Quentin Nelson's place. It's going to be a whole new test this week against Baltimore.
All right. Yeah, best offensive lineman in the league. Guys that missed the game versus the Dolphins: offensive tackle Braden Smith-Foot, defensive end Kwity Paye, hamstring. Cornerback, Rocky Sin, ankle, and Kari Willis, safety, groin. Colts claim defensive tackle Khalil Davis off waivers from the Buccaneers.
So Khalil Davis was a 6th-round pick of the Bucks last year, and he played in 2 of the Bucks playoff games. He hasn't had a snap this year, but hey, if there's a defensive lineman on the waivers list, you know that Chris Ballard's going to take a look at it. So I'm not sure if this means maybe Antoine Woods is heading to IR again. We'll have to see what happens with Khalil Davis's spot on the roster.
We'll have to wait and find out on Wednesday when we tally up the numbers here, folks. But I think Andrew probably caught me this week. Not good.
On the week 4 slate of games?
On the week 4 slate of games. Did not go well, but I did win money this weekend, so I'll take it. You win some, you lose some. I'd much rather lose to you as long as if that means I'm making more money every week. I'm good with that. Let's start it off here. Bengals 24, Jaguars 21. That was a good game. Best game Trevor Lawrence has had yet. I think Urban Meyer decided to go out and celebrate on the long weekend in the spirit of an almost win.
Not good. No, not good for him. He's in a little bit of a hot water, shown dancing with other women while his wife was at home watching the grandkids. Urban Meyer looking like a dirtbag out there.
Tough luck.
But by the way, back to the game. Joe Burrow, great, phenomenal. Joe Burrow looking like
cool. Joe Burrow, comeback player,
franchise quarterback, absolutely
comeback player of the year. I cannot believe neither one of us took Joe Burrow for comeback player of the year. I'm disappointed in myself.
Hey Brandon, here's a bad beat for you. Look at Matt from YouTube. Lost a 5-leg rushing parlay due to Danny Dimes missing his over by 1 yard.
You know how the only thing that could have made that worse? If it was the game last year where he tripped when he was just sprinting away from everybody. That would have caused the 1 yard. That could have been worse, pal. Could have been worse. Are you doing that? Are you clicking on the comments and stuff?
Yeah, I am. Do you like it?
Right. Yeah, that's fine. It's fine. I didn't know you had any control.
Getting some production. Andrew Moore on the production.
Andrew Moore, producer. Sorry. Just another fun learning experience. Washington football team somehow pulled it out against the Falcons 34-30. That one killed me. Andrew finally picks a Falcons game right. Good for him.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, that's tough. Bad beat with Brandon for real. You're a participant in the misery. The Bills, for the second time, have shut a team out this year. 40-0 over the Texans. That Mills guy cannot wait to play the Houston Texans. I mean, I am looking forward to it. That guy is bad. That's all I got.
The Bills look scary, man. They really do.
Josh Allen, are good at football.
Not only is Josh Allen on a tear, that defense has stepped it up to a completely another level. So the Colts better get their stuff together, because the Colts at Bills in week 12, I think it is, week 11, week 12, that could be a bad game.
We're getting to the Cardinals here, Miss Young. Calm down. We have time. Bears, Lions. Kick right in the good old parts. 24 Bears, Lions 14. That one hurt me. You picked the Lions this week too, didn't you?
I did pick the Lions.
Did you see Matt Nagy said that once Andy Dalton's healthy again, he's still the starting quarterback?
I did, and Matt Nagy. We were talking to our former roommate and current Bears fan, Billy Pasquale. He's not a fan of Matt Nagy, and I think a lot of Bears fans hold that same sentiment. So, if Justin Fields earns it until before Andy Dalton comes back, you need to stick with Justin Fields.
Yeah. Cowboys 36, Panthers 28. Shut up. Don't want to talk about it. Browns 14, Vikings 7. That one surprised me. I think the Vikings defense is good. I think they're serious, but their offense just can't figure it out. They played a tough team in the Browns. They've had a tough start, but the Vikings might find a way to dig themselves out of the hole they dug. But this next one, Giants 27, Saints 21.
That one. again, it's which Jameis are you going to get? Are you going to get the bad Jameis? Or are you going to get the good Jameis? And so it looks like Saquon Barkley finally looks like he is returning to 100% health.
He had a good game.
That was a big thing that helped the Giants out. Danny Dimes, I think he throw for like 400 yards or something. So I mean, he went off as well. The Saints defense is what's going to have to carry this team, and when the defense doesn't perform, it's going to be tough for the Saints to win.
I want to know what the odds were on that 5-leg rushing parlay. Matt, will you send that? Will you tell me how bad it was? Because I just want to feel your pain with you. Jets. Hey, we were all Jets fans this week, and they pulled through. Jets beat the Titans 27-24. Zach Wilson threw one pretty football. I can't remember that took the lead, and then the Titans came back and scored and tied it up again anyway. But Zach Wilson tried to lead the game-winning drive through Butte.
100% Zach Wilson's best game of the year. Good old Bob Saleh gets his first win as an NFL head coach. And even better, it was against the Titans. So even with all this stuff going on, all of the drama that's been surrounding the Indianapolis Colts, there's still only one game behind the Titans for the division lead. So a lot of football left to be played.
Plus 23-17 for that parlay. What was that, $10? You'd have won over $200. That would have been nice. That'd have been a nice one. That'd have been a good day for you. Chiefs 42, Eagles 30. Chiefs defense is bad. They're not good. The Chiefs I don't think are good. But they got to win.
I mean, the Chiefs' defense didn't look good, but that offense looked great. I mean, Patrick Mahomes was surgical through that Eagles defense. I mean, the Eagles defense isn't necessarily a top defense, but I mean, he had 5 touchdowns.
Rookie QB win of the season.
He had 5 touchdown passes. He had 3 to Tyreek Hill. So the Chiefs' offense is still a force to be reckoned with.
That's not quite true, Colts loyalist 5, 6, 7, 8, because Mac Jones has won a game or two, I believe, the Patriots, right?
Yeah, Mac Jones has won one game. I think Mac Jones has won one, and didn't Justin Fields won this weekend?
Yeah, so Justin Fields started too.
So. And Zach Wilson. So there's 3. The only one that hasn't is Trey Lance and Trevor Lawrence.
Okay, well, none of the ones that we care about, I guess, have gotten a win. I'll give them that much. Where are we at? I moved my notes.
Now we're talking about Cardinals.
Cardinals 37, Rams 20. What a football game! Kyler Murray, my MVP pick. I'm riding him 2 years in a row. I said last year wasn't it, so this is the one. Kyler Murray's my MVP right now. He's awesome. One more receiver apparently, and a good running back changed everything for that offense. But their defense, I don't know if it's the JJ Watt effect. But I think he's caused that defense. I think that defense is playing a lot better, and I think he's a big part of it.
The Cardinals are here to stay, I really think that the Cardinals are going to be a good team, and they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. It could be that
division.
It could be that maybe the Cardinals end up winning that division, and the Rams have to get a wild card, which would be wild to see. But Kyler Murray's clicking on all cylinders. I would agree with you. Right now, he would be my MVP pick. He's definitely hooking up with DeAndre Hopkins, AJ Green, Rondale Moore. That defense with JJ Watt and Chandler Jones has looked great. The Cardinals are rolling right now.
Some call Rondale Moore the best rookie wide receiver. I say that. Seahawks 28, 49ers 21. That one surprised us too. Seahawks played good. Russ played good. You know what? Jimmy G did go out and Trey Lance came in, and that's kind of when the game turned. The 49ers were winning when that occurred, but yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely the quarterback controversy in San Francisco is definitely sparked up again because it was thought Jimmy G might miss a couple weeks. It was reported today that he might be able to play this upcoming Sunday. If not, does he get Wally pipped and Trey Lance finally takes over the starting job for good? Either way, it's going to be interesting to watch.
I don't think Trey Lance did a whole lot for himself this weekend, but he wasn't bad. I mean, he wasn't bad. Ravens 23, Broncos 7. That one surprised me. I think we both picked the Broncos, or I know I did.
I picked the Ravens. I didn't expect it to be that big of a margin.
Yeah.
Teddy
Teddy got hurt.
Teddy got hurt. Drew Lock came in. There was definitely some controversy towards the end of the game when instead of kneeling the ball, the Ravens ran the ball. Definitely pissed off Vic Fangio and the Broncos team that they've been going back and forth in the media today. Vic Fangio actually used to be the linebackers coach under John Harbaugh for a couple years, and he was saying how when he was there, they didn't care about player safety, and it doesn't look like they still do. Some pretty big shots were fired today in the media.
Steelers 27. That's flip-flopped?
Yep, that's flip-flop. I'm sorry.
Steelers 17, Green Bay 27. It's on the ticker. It's on the ticker right now. You can see it. How cool are we? We've got a ticker. We've got a ticker. Now I'm all screwed up. Steelers stink. Packers are looking good.
Ben Roethlisberger does not look good. I would have to assume this is his last year. The Steelers can't go on like this. They need to get a new quarterback. Their offensive line hasn't been great. Pretty much the same issues that the Steelers were having last year.
Mac Jones tried to do it last night. You know what? By the time that I thought the Patriots might actually win, I'd already bet in game on the Bucks. So by the end of the game, I was cheering for the Bucks. But they won 19-17 on a missed field goal.
Mac Jones was very impressive. I mean, we'll talk about Brady, but Mac Jones impressed the hell out of me last night. He was very poised. He delivered it with accuracy. He was very decisive. He was changing calls at the line. Mac Jones looked like an NFL quarterback last night, and that was my first time being able to watch Mac Jones this year. Eventually, he's going to be coming to Indianapolis in late December, so we'll get to see him then. But Mac Jones really impressed me, just the way he handled everything. And especially, I mean, just with all the circumstance surrounding that game, with Tom Brady coming back and everything like that. And then Brady comes back, breaks the passing yardage record as well. I was really hoping that Nick Folk was going to bang that in and just kind of rain on Tom's parade so he wouldn't get that win. But it was a fun game to watch for sure.
I'd have been okay losing a little money last night if that meant Tom lost to Bill. Around the league here, some injuries. Broncos quarterback Teddy Bridgewater, concussion, left the game. Buccaneers tight end Rob Gronkowski, cracked ribs, broken rib, punctured lung, could miss multiple weeks. He's got a tough day on one of the sides of his torso. 49ers QB Jimmy Garoppolo, calf, left game. Lions defensive end Romeo Okwara, Achilles possibly out for season. I would guess probably out for the season.
Yeah, it was confirmed today that he did tear his Achilles. So big blow to the Rams. I mean, Okwara was a guy that we really liked in free agency and possibly wanted the Colts to bring him aboard. Again, we'll have to see what happens with the Broncos quarterback situation, the 49ers quarterback situation. Those injuries could be big.
Running back LeSean McCoy retires from the NFL.
So I wanted to ask you real quick, just because it seems like when these guys retire, we always talk about like one of our best memories. Do you have a really like a memory that sticks out in your head of LeSean McCoy?
Nothing specific. I just thought he was one of the most elusive running backs, I think, since LaDainian Tomlinson, probably. So I always thought he was a lot of fun to watch. I really think his talent was squandered for a while with some teams that weren't very good. I really did hope that Andy Reid would have used him more when he brought him over to the Chiefs. I think he was on the team the year they won the Super Bowl, though, so he got a ring.
He actually won back-to-back rings because he was on the Chiefs 2 years ago and he was on the Bucks last year. Didn't play in either game.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
But has 2 Super Bowls, so that's kind of a fun stat. But I mean, yeah, I would agree.
Do you have a specific one? Do you have a specific memory of LeSean
McCoy to me, just kind of when the Eagles had Michael Vick and we had Chip Kelly. I know him and Chip Kelly didn't really get along, but just the elusiveness and those electric plays that LeSean McCoy had. I mean, this really isn't thought about, but he has over 11,000 yards rushing in his career. So he was a 6-time Pro Bowler. He had a long, pretty productive career.
Are you going to ask me the Hall of Fame question now? Is that what you're getting at?
Well, we can. Is he a Hall of Fame back? I wouldn't think so either. No.
I think maybe his numbers would be close, somewhere in that neighborhood where maybe he deserved it. But I just don't think just the career side of it. Nobody goes, man, that LaShawn McCoy. How about that career? Like he doesn't get talked about enough. I don't think.
Right.
I think anymore you got to play a little more out of this world to get into the Hall of Fame as a running back.
I mean, it took Edgerrin James quite a few years to get into the Hall of Fame for him, and Edgerrin James is far and away a better running back, put up better numbers than LaShawn McCoy did.
Yeah, so probably not. He could go down in the Hall of Fame of fantasy running backs. We'll give him that.
There we go.
Player of the game, Andrew.
My player of the game, he was my X factor of the game. We talked about him all week, how he was going to be a huge determining factor in if the Colts would win this game. It's Jonathan Taylor. I mean, he had 16 carries for 103 yards and a touchdown. He also had 3 catches for 11 yards. Run the damn ball finally translated to win the damn game this year, and it's what the Colts needed. The Colts need to ride Jonathan Taylor until we can get the full arsenal back, until Carson Wentz is fully healthy, and I think that's going to be the best recipe to win games. So Jonathan Taylor is my Colts player of the game.
Don't forget, really cool outro that we just started using on the last episode. So don't leave yet. My player of the game, I was going to pick, I thought maybe you would pick Mo, so then I would pick Jonathan Taylor, but I was like, if you pick Jonathan Taylor, I'll pick Mo. So I'm going to go with Mo Alley Cox, or maybe just the defense in general, because we wouldn't have won the game without them. I mean, they didn't have a perfect game, but we don't win that game without them and those turnovers. So, but yeah, Mo, I'm going to give him, because of the 2 touchdowns. He really hasn't done much this season. I think he deserves it. Apparently the players thought Frank Reich deserved the game ball, but I guess he can have it. I'm not ragging on Frank this week. It's the first recap I haven't ragged on Frank.
Honestly, I think Frank Reich had a really good game this week. Play calling was good. The situational play was good.
Hold on. I still disagree with the decision to go for it on 4th down.
See what happened. I said go for it. I even tweeted it out. I said go for it.
Because not with that field position.
If you can't get an inch,
I don't care.
If you can't get an inch,
the fact is, if you don't get the inch, they're on your 30-yard line.
Listen, everybody. We all know Brandon Moses is a closet Chuck Pagano where he doesn't want to go for it.
It's all right,
Brandon. It's all right.
No. None of that. All right. Yeah, you get that shit out of here. That's it. Like I said, go follow our socials at a Colts podcast on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We love to interact with you guys on there. Love to chat with you on there, comment on stuff, like stuff, retweet stuff, do whatever you want to do, share our stuff, be a friend. We like to think around here that we're friends with you. And we're good people. You're good people. Share us with your friends. We're the most entertaining Colts podcast that I can say with absolute confidence. We're just the most fun, mostly because I like to push the limit. I like to make Andrew nervous.
He doesn't make me nervous at all. We had fantastic chats tonight on the live stream from the YouTube. So shout out to Colts loyalist, Colton Evans, Matt Mayring. I hope I'm saying that right. Vonda Young. I mean, all you guys were fantastic tonight. Keep the chats rolling. That's what makes the episodes great.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you probably Wednesday night, and then next week is when things get real screwy because we're on Monday Night Football. But until next time, go Colts.
Go Colts.
Let this moment become a cherished memory. And then remember, a legacy is only worthwhile when there is a future to fuel. God bless you, and God bless football.